Good morning, everybody. This is the holiday review. I'm Khalees. It's Saturday morning in my house, and we have a party we have to be at 4 o'clock, but we have soccer at 11, so we're gonna try and get a dessert made this morning before soccer. We're gonna see if we can do it. Today we are gonna make a salted caramel apple pie bars from Sally's Baking Addiction. Pretty simple recipe: shortbread crust, apple filling, and then a streusel topping. So we're gonna start. I've got all of our ingredients here for our shortbread crust. I've got my sugar and my salt in here. I am doubling the recipe. She does say that it's okay because we have too many people that are gonna eat this dessert. So we are gonna double it. So I've got my sugar and my salt. I'm gonna add my melted butter and my vanilla and then my flour. And then we're gonna press it into our pan. So we mix. And so it calls for a teaspoon of vanilla. We always have to remember to double it. Doubling recipes is always dangerous. Add the flour. So no magic there. Looks like it came together nicely. Set this here. Got our 13 by 9 pan, our parchment paper. She also says you can use aluminum foil. I prefer parchment paper, big enough because in the end we're gonna pull it out of this pan to cut it up. So the trick is always to get the parchment paper to stay. I tend to flip it over so that it rolls out instead of in. That's just a trick I've sort of learned over the years. And then we're just gonna press it in. Let's see, is it both the sides or just the press the measure? She doesn't say whether it goes up the sides or not. So they're bars. I'm gonna leave it on the bottom. So that's gonna go in a 300-degree oven for 15 minutes. I do really appreciate that when she wrote this recipe, she says, do this first, and then while that's cooking, you can work on the rest of your components. So I think that that's a really helpful way to write a recipe for everybody. So into the oven it goes. Crust is in the oven. So we're going to peel our apples, slice our apples. I have my handy dandy food processor here that's gonna slice my apples for me much quicker and much more evenly than I can do, but we've gotta peel them first. So that's the hardest part of any apple dish is getting apples. So I'm gonna do that. Apples are peeled, so we're gonna cut them up before we put them in our slicer because obviously we can't put the cores in there. Apple slicing time. So in they go. Is my favorite part. All right. So these are her ingredients to cover our apples: flour, sugar, cinnamon, and nutmeg. Her instructions are combine the sliced apples, all of this stuff in a large bowl until they're evenly coated. So I'm going to sprinkle this in here. You guys got a good shot of that. In perfect timing, our crust is done. I'm gonna go grab it. Got my shortbread crust out of the oven. You know what? Because this is real life, I think I've made a mistake and I think it needs to go back in because I would double my recipe. See, this is the danger of doubling your recipe. 18 minutes, needs to go back in for 3 more minutes. I have to go do that right now. Well, that's what Saturday morning looks like at our house. I hope it looks like that at your house too. We've got our streusel topping whisked up. Got my cold butter, doubled the recipe to cut in. Apples are gonna go on top of our shortbread crust. It actually puffed up a little bit, so those extra 3 minutes were, I think, important. So let's get this in our We turn the oven up to 350, an even layer of apples on the top. She says that it's gonna look like there's too many apples, so try and get them in there pretty tight and press them into the shortbread. So we shall do that. Sprinkle the apple layer with streusel. Can do. Get that nice and even on there. We are going to remember this time to set our timer for the allotted amount of time for a double recipe instead of a single recipe. So we made it to soccer and my son made a goal and we won our game. Always a good time on a Saturday. We got our salted caramel apple pie bars made. Before we went, they've been in the refrigerator for, I don't know, 3 hours or something. She says at least 2, but I guess the recipe does say that you can leave them overnight. So if you had somewhere you had to be the next day, this is something you could totally do the night before, which is, who doesn't love that kind of recipe? They're done. Our salted caramel is made. We're gonna pull them out. We're gonna taste them. So, let's see. Get them off of our parchment. There we go. So it didn't really have a lot of aroma until I pulled it out of the pan and the parchment, and you get that incredible streusel apple smell. So I'm gonna cut up a little bit because this is actually going to someone's birthday today. So presents already got, we got that. So I'm gonna cut up a little bit, try the caramel sauce on it and see, but we're gonna leave most of it intact. Oh, it looks good. Got shortbread. Oh, it's hard to cut through, which means it's kind of crispy on the bottom. I'm excited about trying this actually. Okay. We're gonna take caramel sauce. It's like runny, but not too runny. It's perfect. Wow, but I gotta get it out. Okay. I guess it's a fork situation. I was thinking I was gonna just pick it up and eat it, but caramel sauce is gonna make that more difficult. Let's see. Oh, it's gooey. Oh, it's kind of falling apart. Got to cut through the apples. It's really warm. Or, it's really warm. That's why I said warm, because in my head I was thinking this would be so much better if it was warm. So, it's cool right now. It just came out of the refrigerator, but it's super crunchy. But if you warmed it up and you got the crunch with the salted caramel, this would be, I'm going to tell you later. I'm going to put it in the full review, which you can see at theholidayreview.com after I try it tonight. But this is good. It was a lot of work. It definitely made quite a few dishes, but I do think that this is, if I was going to make an apple dessert, this would be one I would definitely make again. So again, I'm Khalees. This is the Holiday Review, and today we made Sally's baking addiction. We made her salted caramel apple pie bars and her homemade salted caramel recipe. See you next time.